welcome back to Demigod Debut. I'm Mal, Styx scene enthusiast and longtime Percy Jackson fan.
And I'm Julie, Percy Jackson newbie and Nico D'Angelo defender. He really got me this one.
Okay, that's fair. That was almost my intro as well.
He got me good here.
And this is a podcast about Julie reading The Last Olympian for the first time. And this week we are joined by Mike of the newest Olympian podcast. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, happy to be here. I'm happy to be among my past self, kind of present self, as my show is also me making my way through the books for the very first time. But now I've at least read all of the main five. I'm currently 2/3 of the way through the second book of the Heroes of Olympus sequel series. So I'm like the cool midpoint between the two of you. I know more than Julie, less than Mal, I would assume, but I'm excited to be here.
I would hope that you know less than me. I like Percy Jackson a normal amount.
Okay.
And that's fine.
I guess I just didn't know whether or not you were a Heroes of Olympus or you're, like a books 1 through 5 truther. Like, I will never play past Pokemon Yellow because I'm like, there's only 151 and all the other ones can go die.
No, I've read pretty much everything Rick Riordan has written in this universe, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you kind of beat me to our opening question, which is usually, what was your demigod debut?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can give a little more context to it. So before making the newest Olympian, I made a show called Potterless, which was similar in structure. I had never read the Harry Potter books as a kid, so it was me reading them for the first time as an adult. And I started that podcast when I was 24, and it eventually exploded, turned into my full-time job. It was super cool. As I was running out of material, I just knew that like it's not a show that I could make forever. And there were enough people who messaged me, not even knowing that I was looking for the next thing. There were a lot of people who just kind of emailed me, oh, if you want a book series based on the things you like about Harry Potter and the things you've complained about it, I think you would like the Percy Jackson books. Like, it kind of addresses all of the complaints that you have with Harry Potter. It's funny. The kid's from New York, so you're going to love it. So that was already kind of in my radar before recognizing I needed to do something else. And then it just felt like the right choice. There were some other things I could have done, like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, but all things just kind of pointed to Percy Jackson as the next thing. And it made sense. And then once J.K. Rowling became a publicly available piece of shit. Oh man, I said I wasn't gonna curse. Sorry. She just riles me up so much. She riles me up so much.
No, it's fine. We'll allow that one because that's valid.
Once she made it clear that she was a garbage person, then I was like, oh, okay, let's kind of accelerate the timeline here. And then I just only did fan-made stuff for a year, and I made fun of her every episode and donated a bunch of the ad money to trans charities and stuff, and then switched and made my new show, The Newest Olympian, where I was going through all the Percy Jackson stuff for the very first time. And it has been much more enjoyable in terms of not having to have my days derailed by the author tweeting out heinous garbage. So it's been good, and I do enjoy the books more. To each their own, but I'm personally enjoying the Percy Jackson books, I think, more than I did the Harry Potter books. They're just like more up my street. So all those people who emailed me, they were correct.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. I am inclined to agree. I think Percy Jackson destroys Harry Potter, not only the books themselves, but also in a fight. And I stand by that.
Oh God. Oh, it wouldn't even be close.
So is this your first time kind of being on the other side of things and having to avoid spoiling things for someone else?
In a context like this where we're going over the books, yes. The only time I've been close to this is some of the live shows that I've done for the Newest Olympian have been me covering spin-off books for Percy Jackson with a guest who has read the Percy Jackson books but not the spin-off books. So I've been in the situation where I know more than the person I'm podcasting with, but this is the first time where I need to be on high alert. And for anyone who's familiar with my podcast, we have a running joke that the guests all record or perform, if we're on a stage, above a trapdoor. And if anyone spoils me, the trapdoor will activate. And we've never had to activate the trapdoor, which is good. Because who knows where it leads, but I now am on top of the trapdoor because obviously I also have one in my recordings because I got to be fair. So this is I'm on high alert.
Turning tables a little bit, very exciting.
Yeah. So look, I'm brushing up. I'm making sure any commentary I make is only up to chapter 8 of book 5 of the first series. So I've had a lot of people be very careful around me. So it's about time I pay it forward and show that grace to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. All right, excellent. Yeah, so we have chapters 7 and 8 to discuss today, which are some fun ones. So, chapter 7 is My Math Teacher Gives Me a Lift, or Maths if you are like Julie and using the UK version of the book.
Wait, does it actually change the title to that? That's so good.
It does.
Yes.
It also changed the title in The Titan's Curse. Instead of I put on a few million extra pounds, it was a few million extra kilograms.
Oh, not stones? Stones would have been great. That would have been fun.
Stones would have been good.
Oh, that makes me really excited. I love all the little changings of things. There's something that happens in the sequel series where I'll just be super duper vague, but it's like there is like an American snack food that's like a brand name, like, and obviously they have to change it for the international stuff, so they turn it into like a non-branded description of what it is, and it's like not correct, but like I guess the closest thing. And then another one I know is in book 2 when they have Dr. Pepper on the boat in the Sea of Monsters. I believe in Brazil, like in Portuguese, they change it to 7-Up because I think that soda is more popular in South America.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's some other changes.
Well, that's just incorrect because Dr. Pepper is far superior. So, we start this chapter with us. We've shadow traveled to Central Park, apparently, just north of the pond, which is like the southeast corner near the Central Park Zoo. And the thing that we are here for is the Door of Orpheus.
The Dorpheus.
Exactly. And you know, I have to bring up our favorite. If they are looking for Orpheus in Manhattan, they should just go on down to the Walter Kerr Theater on 48th, where they will find a lovely little musical called Hadestown.
Especially because now they got rid of the guy who can't sing. Look, I'm sure he's a nice person, and he's a fine singer. But when the whole play is like, this is the greatest singer in the world, and you're like, he's the worst singer in the cast, it took me out of it. It took me out of the play. It took me out of it.
Oh, no.
I'm sure he's a lovely man. I'm sure he's a great guy.
I mean, it's a little bit true, but it's like my least favorite Orpheus I've ever seen, and I am, in fact, an expert because I have seen it too many times.
How many times is it now?
Seeing it on the West End last month was lucky number 20.
Nice. Look, it's a good play. Maybe on Try 21 they'll make it out.
They could, right? That's why you have to keep seeing it.
My hot take here is one performance per year in Hadestown. They should switch it and they get out, and you don't know which one it is.
I love it.
You want to drive ticket sales?
Ooh.
One time they make it out. Be sold out every night.
And then it's like, oh, were you at the one where they got out? And I was.
Yeah, like you could brag forever. It'd be like finding the golden ticket in your Wonka bar. Come on. You could hold that over nerds forever. They'd be infuriated. It'd be so good.
I mean, the closest thing was that the guy who's like the original Orpheus never took a day off. So it was like kind of a flex if you ever saw anyone else in the role, because it was like he was always there.
Oh, gosh.
So they give us kind of the rundown of Orpheus in the book. You know, he sang his way into the underworld, almost made it out with his wife's soul, wasn't supposed to look back, but then he did. Huge bummer. Makes for a great musical, would recommend. But since it is Orpheus's door, we're going to have to sing like he did. Then we get one of my favorite lines that like made its way over to the Lightning Thief musical, because Percy says he's pretty sure if he tried to sing, all he would do is cause an avalanche. Incredible. Mm-hmm. And so he just kind of screams for Grover. And now, knowing that Grover has been missing for months now, this may seem like kind of an unhinged choice, but Percy has a feeling that he's nearby because his empathy link is tingling for the first time in a while. While they're waiting, Percy mentions something about how the police would probably love to find 2 kids hanging out in the park at 1 a.m. And do you ever have one of those moments where new information is revealed in a scene and you have to like completely rethink what you've been imagining? Because to me, up until this point, this was happening during the day.
Oh, interesting. I've definitely had that phenomenon happen even within reading these books, but I don't know why, but I guess I always thought it was night for this one.
And I have no idea why I thought it was day. Julie, what time of day did you think it was?
No, I totally read it as daytime. I don't know.
And I mean, I don't know why, because this is the same day that we started with like Percy and Annabeth doing cabin inspection.
Right.
Wait, this is the same day?
This is that same day, yes. They had cabin inspection, and then they had Beckendorf's funeral, and then they like met up with Nico and Mrs. O'Leary in the woods, and then they went off to find Luke's mom, and then Percy's mom, and then now we're here. So like,
it's like an episode of 24. Like they're doing so many things. No one's pooping, no one's eating, no one's charging their phones. Like they're getting a lot into this day.
Yeah, there's 23 chapters in this book, and each one is
Oh my
an hour.
Oh man, that was a good show.
And the 24th chapter that they don't write about, that's when they're doing all the eating and going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Those things. Anyway, reading comprehension is at an all-time low for me personally. Anyway, Grover. Percy really focuses on Grover and gets this image of Grover asleep under a tree, apparently deep in the woods. And I have such a hard time associating like woods with Central Park. You know, like I know there's like the North Woods, like up in the corner, like the northwest corner, but like I don't know, I can't believe that there would be a part of Central Park.
It doesn't seem dense enough.
Yeah, like it's in the middle of New York City. I just can't believe that there's a part that is unused enough that a satyr could just sleep for 2 months.
Oh, so your problem is the going undetected bit.
Yes.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought your problem was the trees, and I was like, you've been there.
No, I go to Central Park relatively often.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trees. It's just there's always people.
Yeah, no, and the problem is bird watching in Central Park is like a thing. Like it's like some of the more intense levels of bird watching and there's that, so people would for sure see him. And then if there's anything weird, people gather in mass. So there was one time I was walking through Central Park with a friend of mine, and we just saw like 40 people gather around a tree, and we were like, well, obviously we're going to see what's there. And it was 2 raccoons. This is at like 2 p.m, very slowly climbing down the trunk of a tree in Central Park, and everyone's just like watching captivated. And like, yeah, we just like stood there until they finished, and we were just taking pictures and everything. So if there was a satyr up in the trees for days on end, I agree with you, that would not fly in New York City. There's too many eyeballs for locals and tourists. Someone
would see him. Like Central Park is not some unexplored jungle. Like it's Central Park.
Yeah, it's Rick's Texas showing.
There's a couple things that he describes in Central Park in this book that I'm like, have you been to Central Park?
I think that up until book 5, Rick's New York is like pretty good, like his knowledge of it and stuff. And I won't spoil, but there are things that happen throughout book 5 where I'm like, I think the New York knowledge might not be where it needs to be, just in terms of like the feasibility of some things.
But like me reading this as a 6th grader in Texas, I was like, yes, this is what New York is like. So, you know, if you're not from New York, currently living in New York, like it works.
It totally works.
Then Percy tries to like wake Grover up through the empathy link and is unsuccessful until he mentions food. Pancakes specifically. Just very classic Grover.
Pancakes? Come on.
And so, just a question. Is there a food that you think could get you up?
Oh. Is there a food? It would be easier to say which foods would not get me up.
Fair.
Oh. If I'm trying to pick the one that would most wake me up, gosh. I would have to pick, let's just say DiLorenzo's Pizza in Central Jersey, my favorite pizza place in America. And if I'd smell that pie, I would freak out because I'd be like, who brought DiLorenzo's? Like, what's going on? Like, I think that would be the most startling if I was asleep, unless I fell asleep in a DiLorenzo's Pizza.
Julie, do you have one?
Lemon crisp Kit Kats.
Ooh.
Lemon crisp Kit Kats?
Yes, they only come out around Easter time, and I was a little weird because like I usually don't like white chocolate stuff, but the lemon Kit Kats are so good. I bought like a bag of the miniatures, and I was like going to take it into work because I bribe people with candy to come visit me in my office.
Right, as you do.
And I ate the whole bag before they could make it to work.
Wow.
Like, they're so good.
Kit Kat and Oreo are kind of getting into the thing where they're both starting to fly too close to the sun with what they're making. But power to them, you know, switching up the game.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. You like weird flavors of things because you also like peanut butter Oreos, which are a crime.
What? No, those are good. Specifically the Newman's Own ones. If you have the Newman's Own like knockoff peanut butter Oreos, those are life-changing. They're so good.
Mal, have you ever seen Parent Trap? Hello, she's eating...
Okay, peanut butter on an Oreo is different than the peanut butter flavored icing. The peanut butter flavored icing is disgusting.
No.
So that's valid. I've never had peanut butter Oreos, but I had the Newman's Own like ones, and they use real peanut butter. They bragged about it very big on the bag. Now I think I understand why. I think they're trying to be like, those schmucks over at Oreo. Or yeah, okay, that makes more sense retroactively.
Regular Oreo cream's disgusting. No.
Oh.
I scrape it off, and I just eat the chocolate cookie. I don't eat regular Oreo cream. Ugh.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion. That's fine.
You know what? I'm correct. I'm sorry.
I'm staying out of this.
This is what's gonna like derail me and Mal's friendship. It's
We're gonna get into a
Oreos.
fight about Oreos. For
Serious
sure.
business. Yeah. What about you? Mal, what is it?
Mine will mean nothing to you, Julie, but Mike, I don't know, you lived in Houston for a while. Did you ever go to Papacitos?
Oh, I worked at Pappadeaux's Seafood Kitchen for 3 years, so...
Oh, incredible. Papacitos cheese enchiladas.
Okay, I've never had their enchiladas, but
So
I
good.
I would assume they're fantastic because their tortillas are strong, so...
They're so good. It's like one of the number one things that I miss having moved up here. Papacitos, cheese enchiladas, and Whataburger potato, egg, and cheese taquitos.
Yeah. Whataburger, the Whataburger, man, Whataburger taquitos are really good, but like... they're the most dice rolly of the fast foods you can
Yes.
get. Like 1 out of every 10 is the worst thing you've ever eaten.
Yes.
And then like 3 out of every 10 are unreal. And then the other time, like they're passable, but like you don't know. Whereas like the honey butter chicken biscuit is always going to be good.
But you gotta roll the dice because when they're unreal, they're unreal.
Yeah. I always, if I'm there for breakfast, I'm getting an HBCB, add a fried egg for only like 79 cents.
Ooh.
And then sausage, egg, and cheese taquito.
Never tried a fried egg on the honey butter chicken biscuit.
It's a pro move. It doesn't cost that much more. And then if they have the jalapeno cheddar biscuits, you can swap them out for the jalapeno cheddar biscuits as well. And I don't think they even
See, this is
upcharge
why I
you.
started a Percy Jackson podcast for gems like this.
You're talking to the mayor of Tangent Town. We'll be here for 12 years. Like, I'm the guest, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to edit this. Like, so rein me in if you need to.
I'll just leave it all in, and then it'll be a 2-hour long episode, and it's fine.
Oh my god.
Where were we? Oh, is there a food you'd get up for? Great. So, apparently, thing that dryads can do, they can pass people through the trees, so that's what they do to Grover. And he ends up falling out of a tree right in front of him, so yay. Our good friend Grover's back. And he's wearing a Wear the Wild Things t-shirt, because, like, I just love that. It's adorable.
Cute.
And he has no idea he's been gone for 2 months. Last he remembers, there was a guy in a long black coat who had no shadow, and whenever he passed humans, they would just curl up and go to sleep, and then they would get up and go about their day like nothing happened as soon as he was gone. Cool. Not suspicious at all. Grover also mentions a jogger who curled up on the sidewalk and went to sleep when she ran by this dude. And this is my plea to anyone at Disney who is involved in the show. This jogger is my dream role. I would be very good at it, I think. I cannot give you a resume with any acting experience at all, but I can show you my many running participation medals. I can share with you my marathon time. I have a lot of running experience, but somehow I'm still very mediocre at running. So, like, I would be very believable as a woman who would fall asleep in the middle of a run.
This is my thing, because some of my listeners are very kind, and when the show stuff is going on, they're like, oh, like, they should cast Mike as this, or like Mike should do the voice of Blackjack or whatever. Like, it's very sweet, but like they're gonna hire actual real actors for those things. What is attainable is I would love to be cast as a sleeping New Yorker in the show. Like, that is a feasible thing that could happen. And
Yes.
I think they should get all the New York-based Percy Jackson podcasters to be sleeping New Yorkers. So you can be the sleeping jogging person. I can be someone in like a Prius. Like, I feel like we should. That's the thing that, like, do I expect it? No. Is it at least possible? Yes. Like, that's not off the table.
It's a nice little cameo role. Like, I'd do it for free if you let me be the jogger.
Come on.
Who falls asleep.
Yeah. I think SAG or some union would make sure that didn't happen, but
right.
I'll do it for the minimum.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Grover. So he tried to stand up to Morpheus, the black coat guy, and he said he's saving his energy for the main event, so he'll give Grover a short little nap, and by short, evidently we meant 2 months. But I kind of think I could use one of those right now. Animals that hibernate through the winter have the right idea.
It was just finally 50 degrees here after 2 months of like snow and like below freezing. And you think it was like 80 degrees here. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you also got the basically summer weather that
It was so nice.
we got here today.
Today was wonderful. Today was lovely.
It's like everybody's alive again.
Yeah, I like left work in my big coat and I was like, I'm hot. All right, so they kind of catch Grover up on their plan. He's not really a fan, but he does agree to play his pipes because he says he knows a couple Nirvana tunes that can split rocks. I don't know enough about Nirvana to even begin to guess what song that might be, either of you Nirvana fans?
Oh, I know a couple of songs by them. When I did this chapter, it was my guest was someone who knew more about Nirvana, and he name dropped a song from them that I wasn't familiar with, that I think like might have had a reference that like a lyric in it that like made sense. I don't know if it like mentioned something about a rock or whatever, but I feel like there is a correct answer. I just don't
I
recall.
wonder if there's a song that has like rock in the title.
I doubt it. They feel, I mean, like with other song titles of theirs being "Smells Like Teen Spirit," I feel like they're gonna have more obscure titling.
First glance on Spotify, no rocks. Oh well. I feel like Julie could recommend a Sabrina Carpenter song or two that would split open.
All of them. They're so good.
Grover would love Espresso.
Yes.
That's my hot take.
So true.
Oh, he would. Yeah, come on. He likes Hilary Duff and Jesse McCartney. Like, come on. Yeah. That's not a question.
Anyway, whatever song we play does work and opens up a path to the underworld. Yay, or maybe not yay. Grover then goes off to try to get the nature spirits organized for the upcoming battle, and also probably go find Juniper after Percy reminds him that she'll want to know he's okay. Grover's a lot of things, but a good boyfriend is not really one of them. Percy, Nico, and Mrs. O'Leary descend into the underworld. And, you know, we really gotta emphasize how sketchy Nico is being here. Percy says it's weird, he's lagging behind, he looks doubtful. Like, is this a hindsight is 2020 thing where Percy is kind of narrating after the fact, and so he, like, recognizes that Nico is being suspicious? Or did he notice in the moment and, like, still follow this kid to the underworld?
I kind of read it, I don't read it as hindsight, really. Like, I think Percy's naive enough to just follow him.
I could see it. I think Percy can be kind of naive when it comes to people he cares about. So we walk forever down some steps and finally eventually start to hear the river and then emerge onto a cliff. And Percy kind of remembers being here with Annabeth and Grover and how they were the only reason that he was brave enough to keep going. And now he's kind of having to be brave on his own because Nico's acting all weird. And I too miss Annabeth and Grover. It's kind of wild to think about that, like, they haven't interacted as a trio since that first book.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky. I think it's one of those things that's like great and also tough with the books, is that the trio, like the main trio in each book, kind of changes. And I think in the long run it's fun, but yeah, you definitely do have those moments where you're like, man, I would just love it if those three could come back. Which, you know, you'll get the moments, right? Like, I feel like it'll be in and out and stuff. But so I agree, but I also, God, there's so many fun people that it's hard. It's, you know, they're all such lovely folks to have around.
Yes, our rotating cast of characters is great, but also
the OGs.
The OGs.
Yeah, I feel like part of it probably was trying to differentiate the books from the Harry Potter books. Would just be my guess, my tinfoil hat sort of guess.
Possibly. I do wonder how much Harry Potter influenced what Rick was doing here. Like, how much he was trying to be different versus how much he was trying to, like, capitalize on the success that Harry Potter had. I don't know. Because this was very much after Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So Nico then says we have to get something from inside the gates, which is not part of the plan, as far as Percy was told, but Percy kind of goes along anyway. Cerberus also makes friends with Mrs. O'Leary, which I love for both of them. Adorable.
So cute.
Also, real quick, I texted my buddy Nathan, who was my guest for the show, when we did these chapters. I was like, what Nirvana songs did you pick? He said, not Lithium, because it has a line in the lyric that says, I'm not going to crack. But then they do have a song called Polly Want a Cracker. So if you're trying to split the stone, maybe that's the one, because it could crack the rock.
Excellent.
Like it.
Thank you for doing real-time research.
Look, couldn't leave the information hanging.
Pretty soon after we get through our gates, everyone's favorite demon math teacher returns, good old Mrs. Dodds. And here we have why Nico is being so shady. He has agreed to bring Percy to his father in exchange for information. Betrayal, treachery.
Yeah.
Percy is so mad he tries to attack Nico, but he's grabbed by the Furies before he can. And also he drops his sword, which, you know, would be a much bigger problem if it didn't just reappear. But he's weaponless for now. The last sentence of this part makes me laugh a little bit because he's like, all right, traitor, I growled, take me to the stupid palace. It's not funny, but it is. I feel like Percy is typically pretty good at looking for, like, why someone is doing the thing that they're doing, but he doesn't even stop to consider, like, why Nico would be doing. It's just like immediate rage. And it's interesting. Like, I don't know that he even had this strong of a reaction to, like, Luke betraying him in the first book.
I think it's the built-up situation with Nico, right? Because, like, we've had Nico, you have all the book 3 stuff where Nico's introduced and, you're trying to help him out, and then he's, like, leaves in a huff, right? And he's, like, distant, and he's all gone, and then they have to save him in book 4, and he's still, like, being kind of weird and hung up with Bianca and all that kind of stuff, and then at the beginning of 5, he's also back to being, like, weird and distant and stuff. So I think for me, it's one of those frustrating things of, like, it's kind of like when you're more upset at someone that you like because you want better for them. I think for Percy, it stings more at least what he thinks in this moment right now. Like, initially he thinks it's betrayal because he's like, oh my gosh, it's Nico. It's someone I trusted. It's someone who was being weird, but I was giving the benefit of the doubt the whole time, So I think that's why the vitriol is there. It's because of that love that he actually has for Nico.
Yeah, kind of the difference between, like, a mentor figure who you looked up to betraying you versus, like, someone that you kind of thought you were a mentor figure for betraying you.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think of it from that angle, too.
It's rough. But again, Nico didn't even try to kill him. He just wants him to talk to his dad.
Who he knows Percy hates.
Talking to parents is worse than attempted murder. And, we don't just have Hades here. We also have Persephone and her mother Demeter. I think this is the first time we are seeing Demeter.
Not unless you read the Demigod Files, the little companion book that takes place between books 4 and 5.
Persephone was in that. Was Demeter in that? I don't think Demeter was in that.
I thought, was I wrong? I might be wrong. I thought she was in both.
I don't know. Julie, we just read that. We should know. It was just Persephone, right? In the Sword of Hades?
Girl, I have the memory of a goldfish.
Yes, I know. I do, however, love Percy's observation. Like, he's like, oh, her hair is kind of woven with dried grasses. So, like, if someone lit a match next to her, she'd be in serious trouble. Mm-hmm. I love his little observations like that. Just hit us with some observational comedy, Percy. Thank you. Also, Hades is immediately like, wow, Nico, took you long enough. Your sister would have done a better job. Which, yikes.
Ooh, tough. Also, I think you might be right. I think it might just be Persephone that was in the previous one. I went to the Riordan wiki page and Controlled F for Demeter and got 0 results. So, in my defense, I've read that book once, as is the conceit of my podcast, and it was years ago.
So fair.
I feel like I should have more confidence in my knowledge because I'm very much like, yeah, I've been reading these books for like 15 years. But also, as we've said on this podcast, I miss a lot of stuff. So I was like, maybe Demeter was there and I just missed her.
I think I know when I read this book, I was frustrated about whether or not the characters remembered that they were in the Demigod Files, because, like, there's a point where it's clear of, like, oh, yeah, they are referencing the Demigod Files. And then there's at one point where it's, like, as if the Demigod Files didn't happen. And that frustrated me. So, maybe in my brain I was like, oh, yeah, and Demeter didn't even remember. Yeah, so I think that could be my mistake. But it's an interesting space where the Demigod Files lives.
Oh, you're right about that. There's definitely some things that are like, don't quite add up. Yeah. And then otherwise Percy's like, oh yeah, I've seen Persephone before in the winter. And like that could only be...
Right, that's it. And then I might even be in these chapters where it's like, Percy hadn't been in the underworld since book 1. You're like, hold on.
That's untrue, yeah.
That's not true. You were there a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Persephone is also... She's not happy that Hades has promised Nico information about his mother since, the whole cheating thing. And then we've got, like, Demeter giving classic mother-in-law complaining about her daughter's husband. The whole thing is just a mess, because they're all just arguing, and Percy then has to be the one to be like, hey, if you're gonna kill me, like, please just get on with it. Which, rookie move. You always sneak out while they're distracted arguing. Or, like, at least try.
It's good.
Okay, so the tea on Nico's mom is... She was a wonderful woman from Venice. Her father was a diplomat in D.C., which is where she met Hades. And then, when Nico and Bianca were young, World War II was happening, and Hades' kids were on the losing side, as we so famously have...
Every time. I hate it every time.
Like,
hate it every time.
Anyway.
Hate it every time.
So we put Nico and Bianca in the Lotus Hotel to keep them safe. Hades then answers no other questions except for sharing that the lawyer that got them out was Electo, aka Mrs. Dodds, in disguise, and they were brought out so that they could be the child of the prophecy instead of Percy. And Hades is also avoiding the war by hiding in the underworld instead of fighting with the other gods. Basically, he thinks if he waits until Nico turns 16, then he can be the one to save the world, and then Hades will be the king of the gods. Does not feel like a very well thought out plan to me. Feels like that one meme, that's like, step 1, wait until Nico is 16. Step 2, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 3, profit.
Yeah.
This is not a plan.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to utilize what is very helpful for these books for intrigue purposes, but also it just kind of like works out in the Greek mythology of it all. It's just that the prophecies like are very vague, and it's a lot of like, oh, well, it actually meant this. So I think Hades is just trying to capitalize on the fact that like, well, it didn't say who the hero has to be, woo, So he's just trying to really hold on to that turn 16 thing.
Could be anyone. Could be my son. But I almost wish that he had a better plan, because it could be such a power move, but instead it's just kind of sad.
I mean, Hades doesn't always have the most thought out stuff, right? He's not necessarily master plan. Otherwise, book 1 would have been completely different.
Very true. And now he's going to throw Percy in the dungeons, because of course he is. And Nico kind of protests because this isn't what they had agreed to, and he barely got any information out of him that we didn't already know. And Hades says, if you wanted a better deal, you should have made me swear on the Styx. And then he sends Nico to his room, as a father does.
Yeah, the amount of times people in these books basically use, oh, my fingers were crossed behind my back is infuriating, but like perfect for the gods being infuriating. So I'm not like knocking Rick here, but my goodness gracious, they love to pull that sort of move.
It's like, you didn't make me swear. Annoying. And then, before we throw Percy in the dungeon, he lets him know that he has no chance to stop Kronos, because tonight there will be a trap sprung and it will be too late. Then he promises to check on Percy in like 50 or 60 years. And so, Julie, as our Hades apologist, what are your thoughts on Hades as depicted in this chapter?
Listen, 1, he can do no wrong in my eyes because he's perfect. He's just trying to, look out for himself because nobody else looks out for him. So, I think it's fine. It's fine.
Great, thank you for that. Anything else on this chapter?
Oh, they mentioned, like, Percy's first time going to the underworld when he's, like, 12. And that just, like, hit me when I was reading that. I was like, 12 years old. Like, a baby. Literally a baby. I'm like, that's insane. I know he's still a baby now, but I'm like, oh my god, 12.
No, 12 is very small.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would trust a 12-year-old to like be on the subway by themselves.
Yeah, it's pretty early. I'm gonna have to come to grips with that. I don't know, man. Yeah. It's going to be tricky. Because on one hand, I'm always like, just take the subway. It's not scary. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking of my tiny little daughter be like, oh, no, when will I feel okay with her being on the subway? I just know what I'll do. Whenever she's gone, I will just have my phone in front of my face with location services on, tracking every second of it.
Is she there yet?
Is she there? Update. Refresh. What do you mean 30 seconds ago? I need now, oh, Apple.
And cell service on the subway is the worst, so that's not going to help.
Oh my god! Yeah, you can only take above ground train lines, so I know exactly where you are. You will be taking the N and the Q.
All right, are we ready for chapter 8?
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, chapter 8. I take the worst bath ever. First thing, Riptide has reappeared, which is very helpful to us right now because we're in a doorless, wall-less cell that is also probably airtight, so Percy may suffocate.
Ugh.
So, this is as good a time as any to fall asleep. Partly because, as we learned last chapter, it was night, and now it's like 7 a.m., and he still hasn't slept. And so we have some dreams. The first is just of Rachel on vacation. No real new information is presented, except showing us that Rachel did indeed go on vacation, I guess.
It also describes her outfit. Very.
Oh, it does. Yeah, she's wearing a Van Gogh shirt.
Very important information. We learned that Rachel Elizabeth Dare is a fashionista. Yeah.
And her mom is reading a magazine about being on vacation while she's on vacation, which Percy's like, that's confusing.
Mhm.
Iconic.
Yeah, it's important to learn. Not only does her father suck, her mother sucks too.
And then all of a sudden, our dream switches and we're at the Arch in St. Louis. Lots of references to the Lightning Thief happening in these chapters.
Mhm.
But now the Arch is the site of the gods' fight against Typhon. And a detail that gets me here, Percy says, oh no, Typhon has made it halfway across the country. But that's not even close to... Like, I know Typhon is not a car, but I did look it up. And New York to St. Louis is a 15-hour drive. And then Mount St. Helens to St. Louis is 32 hours. So he's in fact 2/3 of the way across the country, not half.
But this goes to one of my favorite Percy Jackson beliefs. As a kid from New York, Percy Jackson is one of those people who's just like, yeah, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Idaho, those aren't real.
No.
Like, in Percy's brain, there's the West Coast, there's the Midwest, and there's the East Coast. Like, he's really a flyover state kind of guy. So for him, he's like, yeah, he's halfway, because that first part didn't count.
Mountain time, not a thing.
Yeah, no.
Well,
Right.
I will say, I was looking for like a city that would be more midway. There's nothing.
No, so I actually did learn this. I think the center point, where is it? I think there's like the center point town in America is in like a town named Center. Hold on.
Interesting.
Hold on. I'll continue on. I will do some more live research to figure this out.
Well, I also just kind of had a joke about Percy not knowing
Sure.
geography, and I think it is because he had that dang photo of Annabeth taped in his social studies notebook in 7th grade that he was looking at when he was supposed to be looking at maps.
Okay, here it is. There's a town in South Dakota called Center, and it's basically like exactly halfway through the United States. Now, obviously, it's a little more up north, but in terms of like east-west, it's like right in the middle.
I love that.
What is the population of this town?
Oh,
Just
let's
curious.
see. Can't be much. It's in South Dakota, so I'm going to say like 12. Let's see. 11,000. Center Township is a township in Beaver County. Nope, that's the wrong thing. God, Google AI, you're so bad. You're so
annoying.
bad. God, I hate this.
It's impossible to Google anything now.
I know, it's so bad. I gotta switch. This is gonna be it. This is my moment. I'm on a podcast and Google's making me sound like I'm an idiot. Okay, according to niche.com, 74.
So you weren't that far off with your guess of 12.
That feels impossible. These people have 2 senators.
Oh my
Give me a
gosh.
break. God.
Us New York elites being like, small towns.
Coastal elite,
Mhm.
you guys.
If you're in a small town, please keep listening to this podcast.
Look, I don't want to hear about your state, South Dakota, that has 924,000 people in it. Very cute. Our city of New York has 8.25 million people in it. Like,
Sure does.
when the population of like the southern part of Manhattan is more than your state, like, I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about your problems. No one's there.
Oh.
Look, and let me be clear. The people in South Dakota, you're fine. I'm mad at our government system, not you. It is
Yes.
silly.
No, you're right.
It is a silly government system. It's just the thing where people are like, if we had a system that was based off of population, the people in cities would rule the world. Yeah, that's where all the people are.
Because
Like,
the people are in the
that's where
cities,
the
yes.
people are. I'm not worried about the square footage.
Because right now, why do the people in Wyoming, why does their vote count like 3 times what mine does?
They voted for Dick Cheney's daughter. Their votes should count less. Bad judgment.
Julie, your vote counts a lot though. You're in that good swing county
Swing County.
in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Ah!
Hey.
Girl, I
Hey,
tried.
Julie did her
I
part.
tried.
Yeah, like,
Oh. Well, in happier news, Percy also says that Typhon's foot is the size of Yankee Stadium. Just pointing that out for you 2 Yankees fans.
Yankee Stadium mention. That's in my notes.
let's go. Oh, beautiful. Let's good.
I figured it would be.
Important. Oh man, you want to talk about a tangent? Oh my gosh, we gotta talk about the new season.
Baseball season
How-
so soon, so soon.
So soon. So soon.
Beautiful.
And the Yankees just got rid of the no facial hair policy, and they just reported today they're only going to play New York when they win. They're not going to play it after losses anymore. Vibes around the Yankees are skyrocketing this offseason.
Rate change.
Juan Soto, never heard of her. We have beards and we've done better things with our music now.
Oh, I'm going to miss walking out of the Yankee Stadium after an Astros win to New York, New York.
Oh, don't make me turn off this. I didn't know you were an Astros fan. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Oh, my God. How many games did you go to when they were bad for 13 years in a row? 2? 3?
Quite a few,
4?
actually.
Yeah, when they were paying people to go to the games, when tickets for the lower section was $5 and
You mean when it was basically free to go?
Yes, you could bring in any food you wanted. Like they were dying to get people in. I lived in Houston when nobody gave a damn.
Oh yeah, we used to load up my mom's backpack with like chips and things. Yeah, absolutely.
The Astros. Get out of
Listen.
here. Never forgive you for 2017.
We don't choose where we're born and the sports teams that become our sports teams as a result. Okay, I'm sorry.
You don't have to root for them. They cheated so much.
Okay, they were the only ones.
Oh my God, this is so therapeutic.
Jose Altuve won the MVP because he's short. Give me a break. Well, he's not tall, and Aaron Judge is tall, so he shouldn't win the MVP. Look how small he is. Give it to him. He's cheating. He knows what pitch is coming.
Listen,
The worst.
I can forgive and forget.
If they actually got punished, that'd be one thing. But the fact that nobody got punished, and then Alex Bregman's like, can everybody just stop being mean to us? Can everybody stop booing us, please?
Hey, Bregman's not on the team anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He went to the Boston Red Sox, who also were in charge of cheating.
We're cheating, yes.
Yeah. They were the perverse people. They had the Apple Watches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad Percy uses Yankee Stadium as a frame reference because it's something that I at least can visualize. So it made me happy when I was reading this book the first time.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I know how big that is. Yeah, it's pretty big.
So good. I loved that. That was so therapeutic for me.
I know. So I was like, I have to throw in the fact that I'm an Astros fan because I know that's going to be controversial.
Here's how we can end it. You guys have won one real World Series and one pretend World Series, right? So even if we're giving you the benefit of the doubt, you've won it twice. Just a quick math problem. What's 27 minus 2?
I don't know, but how many in the last 20 years?
I don't need. How many where you didn't cheat? Oh, okay, 1.
That's one more than the Yankees in the last however long. Okay, we gotta stop.
Cutting this off. Something I'm sensitive about.
Julie's leaving. I'm sorry.
We've not talked about any of this chapter. We've ruined all the momentum.
No, just baseball.
Let's get back to it.
Anyway, then Percy's woken up by Nico. And immediately before he's even all the way awake, Percy has him pinned on the floor with his sword at his throat.
It's cool.
Which is cool and not concerning at all that we have turned this 15-year-old into a fighting machine who is ready to pull his sword on someone in his sleep.
Stay ready.
Great. And Nico says he wants to rescue Percy, kind of points out that Percy has no other choice, so he's kind of forced to trust him. And they escape pretty easily, because Nico just kind of points at the skeleton guards, and they kind of power down. But every time he does, he also starts kind of powering down, getting more and more sleepy, until Percy is basically carrying him. And they're saved only by Mrs. O'Leary, who then carries them the rest of the way over to the River Styx.
Look, teamwork makes the dream work, you know? We gotta put all of our heads together.
Yeah, we brought the whole team, and we're using the whole team. And when they stop at the shore of the river, Percy expresses his concerns that Nico's powers drain him too much. And we get, all-time great Nico line. He says, with great power comes great need to take a nap. I have to admit, when I read this at 11, I thought Nico invented this line.
Oh.
Did not know it was a Spider-Man reference.
You didn't realize it was, yeah, come on. That's that is the most famous line from Spider-Man, I would say, other than, my Spidey sense is tingling.
I mean, I watched a lot of, Spider-Man versus Venom on VHS growing up, but not a whole lot more than that. So I guess they must have never said,
okay.
with great power comes great responsibility, in that particular VHS.
Right. I don't know, I feel like it's a thing that's in the comics because it does find its way into everything, but it's, not as much as the Tobey Maguire movies. They were really hello, everyone. If there is a key takeaway you will have from this trilogy, it is that with great power comes great responsibility. So that's the, as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, that movie franchise is really the one that drove it home for me.
Yeah, and I didn't watch any of that when I was younger, so to me, Nico is the originator of With great power comes great need
Look,
to take a nap.
It's great.
I love it.
And so it is now almost time for us to go in the Styx. But first, we have to talk to the ghost of Achilles, who still has the bloody arrow that killed him in his heel, which is gruesome and terrible. But Julie, how familiar are you with Achilles?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
Pretty much, like, what they talk about here is what I knew. Like, Achilles' heel, he's invincible except for that little part.
Right. Good to know. So Achilles warns Percy not to follow his path, just like he evidently also warned Luke. And apparently doing this will make him powerful and better in combat, but also increase his weaknesses. You know, classic double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
Percy, of course, is like, yeah, but couldn't I just wear something besides sandals? So unserious.
I mean, look, he's always asking the right questions, right? It's not a bad thought, you know?
But it's perhaps an inside thought. It did not need to be asked.
But that is the joy, and that's what is endearing of Percy, is that he does voice these out loud. And it's also like the teenage boy thing, right? So
right.
I get
No
it.
filter.
Yeah, no. It makes sense. And it's great and it's very entertaining, but
The good thing, here's what I'll say. Percy is, because Julie saying no filter made me think of it. Julie, here's what, let me give you a breakdown about Julie. No, so Percy is the type of no filter person that is like good and acceptable, because I feel like when most people say like, oh, I have no filter, what they're really saying is like, I'm a bad person and I don't have any social skills, or that like you could either be like, I'm a bad person who wants to say mean things, or I just have zero social skills. Percy's key thing is that he has the filter to know when to not say something that's like going to rub someone the wrong way. He does a very good job of like, oh, Annabeth looked upset, so I decided not to press her on this. Or like, it seemed like a touchy subject, so I didn't ask a follow-up question. So he like understands that. But when he just has like a smooth brain thought, he just has to be like, huh? And just like voice it. Or if someone's name sounds like a food, he has to be like, what? Did you just say your name was lasagna? You know, so I feel like he's got the correct version of no filter. He stops
right.
like
you're right.
the stuff that's going to be actually uncomfortable. But for the funny things, he says them out loud and then we get to laugh.
That's a great way to look at it. Percy can also kind of tell that Achilles is genuine in wanting to warn him, but he's very, very much like, I'm not about to be outdone by Luke. But also, like, from a tactical standpoint, we really can't afford to be outdone by Luke, so
Yeah.
Achilles tells him he needs to focus on a mortal point, a place on his body that will be his only weakness and keep him mortal. And so if you kind of lose sight of what keeps you mortal, the river Styx will burn you to ashes. And so then this makes Nico start to have doubts, but Percy's like, I'm gonna go for it anyway. And so he decides on the small of his back because it'll be covered by his armor and most people won't aim for it on purpose. And he hits us with, it's more dignified than like my armpit or something. But come on. Like, you want to talk about something people aren't gonna aim for? Your armpit is pretty high on the list.
But so I think armpit's actually bad because in theory, if you're fighting, like there would be times, especially sword fighting, where like your arm is extended and your armpit's right there. Small of the back, it just feels like I'm a main character and I need to pick the literary example so that if I get stabbed in the back kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's thematically appropriate for a guy whose fatal flaw is loyalty to make it to where you have to literally stab him in the back. Yeah, it works.
This is what I'm saying. Like, he's the main character, so thus it has to be. But, like, there are more strategic things. Like, my answer that I always said for if I had to pick a thing is I would pick, like, the underside of my foot. Because, like, at what point in time is someone going to... Like, if I'm fighting, I'm probably standing. And then if I'm on the ground, like, I can move my foot quite quickly to not get stabbed there. I feel like that is, like, a very low-seeing sunlight area.
But you also have to consider, like, if you get a blister... or you, like, step on a tack, is that enough to kill you?
Oh, that is a good point. I mean, look, yeah, if I step on a Lego, I mean, look, when you step on a Lego, I just want to die anyway, so maybe it'll be for the best. Just be like, I don't want to deal with this pain, just get me out of here. Ah! Oh, no, would I have to be one of those people who wear shoes indoors? Ah! Sorry, in someone's house. I still wear shoes when I'm in, like, businesses. But, like, in someone's home, you like, take your shoes off, be like, I can't, I might die.
I have to wear my shoes at all times. But like I've had shoes that have given me blisters on like the soles of my feet, and I'm like, what if my shoes made me die?
Yeah. No, I guess, yeah, I'm sure that's like I am a boy and I've never had to wear high heels, so this is like I'm normally wearing shoes that don't hurt me. So maybe foot blisters are less of a concern of me at the front of the brain.
I don't have a good answer. Julie, do you have a good answer where you would put a mortal point?
Underside of my tongue.
Funny, when I did the episode about it, my guest said that, and we debated whether or not that was cheating.
What?
Because it feels like you could just always just... It's not exposed. Like, yeah, because, like, what separates that from you picking, like, your spleen? Like, your tongue is kind of, like, inside your body.
You can access it from the outside, though.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, you could access my spleen. You just got to, like, go down through through some other holes. I don't know what the spleen is connected to, so maybe that's not true. But you understand what I'm saying.
Like a nostril.
Yeah. Backside of your knee could be a good one, right? Like, how often are people going to get you in like the knee pit?
See, I thought about that one, but then I thought about how many times I've cut myself shaving, and
See, look, I always pick something up, and you're like counterpoint woman, and I'm like, damn.
Right? No, exactly.
Foiled again.
Yeah, so see, there's no ideal point.
Correct.
Great. So it's river time. And Percy describes it as jumping into boiling acid, but times 50.
My favorite thing about this is the opposite, because I'm glad he did this line, because like Percy saying something like it was as big as Yankee Stadium. It's like, right, Percy's seen Yankee Stadium. He knows how big that is. Cool. He says it's 50 times worse than jumping into a pit of boiling acid. Have you ever done that before, Percy? Like, how do you know what that feels like? And how do you know it's 50 times worse than that? You don't know this.
Yeah. Hyperbole. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's totally just a matter of speech. But I love that Percy either goes with like things that he's certainly experienced or things that no human has.
Yes, it's either very realistic or very unrealistic.
Yeah, true. And I guess that's the point. Like, that's how you determine whether or not it's hyperbole. But still, I just think it's funny that these happened like in back-to-back situations of like thing that makes sense, thing that's like, how did you know that, my guy?
And immediately he face plants into the water and starts dying.
Mm-hmm.
He starts seeing people. He sees Rachel, Grover, Tyson, his mom. Rachel's the only one that doesn't say anything to him, which, I don't know, could mean something, might not. Because Grover also just simply says enchiladas, so he's been to Papacitos. I mean, none of it is helpful, because he is forgetting who he is, and he is being washed away by the river. And then a voice says, "Remember your lifeline, dummy," and it's Annabeth. She says, "Hold on, seaweed brain, you're not getting away from me that easily." And he can see her like standing on the pier above him, reaching out her hand to help him up. And he's like, "Oh, right, I've fallen out of my canoe." And she calls him an idiot, tells him to take her hand. And then he stops dissolving. He remembers that he's Percy Jackson. And he reaches up and he takes her hand.
It's really good.
This scene changed me as a person.
Yeah.
When I was 11. It was like, this was formative.
Yeah, and look, it's really good. Like, it's arguably sweeter than their first kiss is book 4, yeah? Like, they have the little, like, that's like a more surprising moment, but like in terms of like actually like the romantic feeling of the relationship, like this is the first like big time moment.
Oh, this is like peak soulmate behavior.
Yeah.
This
like,
is crazy.
She is literally his tether to existing. Like, whew, big stuff.
Yeah. Can't remember who he is, but remembers Annabeth. How wild. I also, there's a detail that I love is that this is not some like idealized version of Annabeth. Like, she is not nice to him in this dream vision. Like, she calls him dummy, then idiot, then seaweed brain. Like, she calls him dumb 3 times.
He loves it. He eats it up. That's what he wants.
No, he loves it.
He wants it. Oh, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. And, you know, of course, when I was 11, and also kind of now, at almost 27, I'm like, this is the most romantic thing I've ever read. What do you mean she's literally his Achilles heel?
Oh, yeah, I mean, ooh, yeah. It's good. It's good.
Ooh.
Rick is cooking. He's cooking.
Rick is really cooking. And every time Rick is like, yeah, this is my relationship with my wife, I'm like, love this for you, Rick.
Has he said that?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
Aww, that's so cute.
It's a baller move. It's a powerful move for him to pull.
Real lover behavior.
It takes a wife guy to write a wife guy. That's what I'm saying. And I love this kind of theme we have going that we kind of touched on last time, like when we met Luke's mom and had all the stuff with the moms. But like this idea that like the people that you care about and your family it's what makes you who you are. And it's lovely.
Yeah, isn't there some sort of, I feel like there's some sort of like quote or philosophical phrase about like a way to know like the value of someone is like who are the 5 closest people to them, right? Isn't that some sort of thing? I feel like that's some sort of thing.
It sounds like it would be some sort of thing.
It's something here. It's you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with is some sort of like thing. But then there's some Medium article, you are not the average of the 5 people. I don't know. Thanks, David.
Are you or are you not? We don't know.
I don't know. It's a phrase at least. I don't know who said it. So if the person who said it sucks, don't hold it against me.
Yeah, that's always a concern.
This is why I don't like. There's some people who rattle off all these quotes from famous people and stuff, and they like to live by these things. It's like, I don't know, man. What if that person sucked? Like, I don't ever want to. I don't need to. I don't want to. It's like when people get like tattoos from like creative people or something. It's like, that's such a huge risk. What if that person sucks later down the road?
See, I want a Percy Jackson tattoo so bad, but I'm like, no, I can't.
That's probably there's
Just
a
in
long
case.
enough time where if Rick has been keeping it up for this long, you might have to hand it to him.
Very true. Because, the big thing with Rick, he's not perfect. He's messed up some, but he has shown willingness to grow and change and, like, be better. And that's what life is about.
And that's at the end, like, not to make it all, but, like, that was before J.K. Rowling was just, like, transphobic publicly. That was the big knock with her, is just, like, she always tried to act like she was perfect and had everything planned. Like, it never admitted fault except for admitting that time turners were bad. And it's just like, ugh. And that's what gets me annoyed on a bigger scale when people get upset about like cancel culture and stuff. It's like, we're just trying to hold people accountable, and if you just give like a genuine heartfelt apology and the thing that you did wasn't like earth-shatteringly terrible, like, and you just try to move on, like, yeah, we'll accept you. But like, usually people just double down and refuse and then blame it on society, and then instead of blaming themselves for the bad things that they did. So yeah, the fact that Rick, like, whenever he has misstep, just apologizes and tries to get better, it's like, cool, that's all we want. I'm the same way. Like, you listen to old episodes of my podcast, like, I've said some things that are like, ugh, I wouldn't say that anymore. But like, I just apologize at each step of the way. I learn, I talk to people, and then like try to change going forward. That's all you got to do.
It's all about growing and changing and being better than you were yesterday.
Right. We're not demanding perfection. We're just demanding people, like, be held accountable and try to improve and just try to be more welcoming and accepting. It's really easy. It's so easy.
Costs $0 to be a decent person.
It's also like way easier to not hate people. You have to to hate people for no good reason. You have to like remember why you're like, It's so much more effort. It's so much easier.
Yeah. I have nothing constructive to add. So Percy then bursts out of the river with his skin bright red like he's been roasted over a fire, and he looks around for Annabeth even though he knows she's not there. And before he has time to really stop and like kind of figure out how he feels and if anything has changed, they're attacked by an army of the dead led by Hades. And Percy just takes them all on single-handedly. And I love how he's like, yeah, all these muskets are firing and swords are slashing, but like nothing touched me. I wonder why that is. And he's just like being a one-man army and taking out all of the undead soldiers until eventually he's like pinned Hades down to the ground. And it's not until no one comes to defend Hades that he realizes, oh, I literally just destroyed this entire army.
It's cool. I think it's the best way for us to learn about his new powers.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically showing us
Show, don't tell.
He's so powerful that he doesn't even understand how it works. Yeah, it's great. It's well done. Because it puts you in his headspace, right? Like, you're wondering, and also you're realizing, oh, wow, he doesn't even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And, like, I never really care about, like, long, drawn-out fight scenes, but, like, this one rules. This is incredible. No notes. Julie, what are your thoughts seeing your man taken down by a 15-year-old?
Listen, nobody's perfect, okay?
As we
what
just
is he
said.
supposed to do? Kill the 15-year-old? Come on. That would be bad.
He very much wants to kill the 15-year-old is the thing.
Okay, but who doesn't? Like, you ever meet a 15-year-old and you're like, oh my god, like...
Sure.
Just saying, some of the kids that I interact with, I'm like, you're driving me insane. You know, I get it. Okay. I won't do it, but I get it.
Great. And maybe that's something you're gonna have to apologize for.
Yeah.
Tune in for the next episode when Julie explains why murdering children is bad, and so is wanting to murder them.
Apology video with tears.
Yeah.
Look, we all have to learn and grow, and Julie just didn't know. She didn't know.
How was I supposed to know? I'm sorry.
They kept talking about my aura. Ah!
Then Percy kind of demands that Hades tell him about the trap that he mentioned, but Hades just vanishes without telling him anything, you know.
Coward.
And then it's now that Percy realizes how tired he is and how every muscle in his body hurts, and that's just trying to participate in athletic activities after 25. My knees are not what they once were.
Just gotta do a lot of stretching. A lot of stretching.
Yeah.
That is the key.
I got a foam roller, game changer.
Yo, foam roller, you get that like the little like stick, the I don't even know what it's called, but it's like the stick with like the plastic
little
thing,
guy?
and you like, yeah, you get one of those, and you like roll it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get all the things. That's been the big thing for me. Now that I'm 33 and still I will never not try my hardest to beat out every single ground ball in my softball league. But I do it, and then I'm just sore after, so I got to stretch before and after.
Right.
A lot of stretching. I get to my softball games like 30 minutes early to stretch.
Yeah, as you should.
You got to do it.
It's healthier in the long run.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the main reason, obviously, like taking care of my body, one thing, but like I don't want to get a serious, like I don't want to like pull a muscle or tear my ACL or something, and then have to tell people for months on end that I was like, I was trying to beat out a ground ball to second base in my Central Park softball league.
Yeah.
Like it just no.
I tore my ACL in a rec softball league.
Me being a tryhard in softball is already embarrassing enough. If I got injured doing it, one step too many. One step too far.
Yeah. Speaking of injuries, I guess, would you be at all interested in taking on the Curse of Achilles like this?
I think only in the situation Percy is doing. Like, only in the situation of, like, it must be done.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like something I would want to do just because I would be so paranoid about the vulnerability spot.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was, like, truly up against the wall, you got to do it, I don't think I would be so opposed to it that I wouldn't do it in order to
save the world,
take down the evil being. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, if push comes to shove, fine. But I would rather not.
Yeah. What about you, Julie?
No, I'm not doing it. Sorry. Somebody else can do it.
Even if you had to save the world?
See, I'm like one of those people, if like a zombie apocalypse happened, I'd be like, just kill me. I can't deal with it. I don't have the wherewithal. Like I'm clocked out.
Yeah.
Like in this situation,
you're like, Elysium for me, please. Thank you.
I've seen enough. Thanks.
Honestly, valid. See, I feel like clearly it doesn't even help you with like the being sore, which is really the only thing that I would be interested in it for, like in my normal everyday life. So that can't be worth the like flaming pit of acid times 50.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I'm such a baby when it comes to pain too. I'm like, I couldn't handle that. No.
Definitely not. Alright, and then to close out this chapter, Percy tells Nico to go back to his father, try to convince him to help. Nico assumes that this is because Percy no longer trusts him, which is probably true.
No.
But also, Percy is like, I'm very shook by what happened, and I'm not even thinking clearly. But also, he's probably right. Like, if someone's gonna convince Hades, maybe it'll be Nico. Nico doesn't really have high hopes, but he thinks, maybe he'll at least get some more information about his mom. So, who knows? Then Percy heads on up back to the real world to get this war started, because, like he says, it's time he found Luke. Are you hyped, Julie? Because I'm hyped.
I love a fight scene, so anytime I think that there might be a fight scene, I'm ready. I'm there. I've been there, seated, waiting.
You've been waiting for this big power-up. It's kind of turned Percy into a one-man fighting machine.
Like, I want him to become Jason Bourne. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm so excited.
Jesus Christ, it's Percy Jackson! Yeah, really good.
Exactly.
All right, Julie, you got any other thoughts?
Well, one thing in this chapter that got me to become a Nico D'Angelo defender.
Great.
And it was the part after Percy kind of like attacked him, and then Nico's just like curled up in a ball, he's like coughing and trying to like get like his poor like throat back, and I'm like, this is the saddest thing I've ever read. Like, it really got. I was reading this at work, obviously.
Right, as you do.
They don't pay me enough to actually do work the entire time, and
hell yeah, that's the
like,
way to do it.
I'm gonna start crying. Like, this made me so sad. I felt so bad for Nico.
It is sad.
This really got me.
Yeah.
Like, something like this, if something like this happened to Clarice, like, I would turn into a full-throated Clarice defender.
Interesting.
Like, it would work on me. Like, if we find out Luke went through something like this, I'm gonna turn into a Luke defender.
Yeah, some mean 15-year-old held a sword to his throat. Now we're Luke defenders. Do you have any predictions for the next couple chapters?
Yes, I do. I don't really have anything for Hades' trap. I'm kind of curious to see how it is. But I was like, is Morpheus actually working for Kronos? Or is he working on Hades' trap? I'm not sure. And then, interested to find out what Luke's, what do they call it, mortal point is? Like his weakness. I wonder if it's going to come back to his mom. Because we got a little bit of her. But for the chapters, chapter 9 is 2 snakes saved my life. I think it has to do with, wasn't it Hermes who had like the 2 snakes like earlier?
Yeah.
So,
oh, I thought for sure you had forgotten about that.
Wrong. I remember those because they freaked me out because I don't like snakes. So I'm like, we gotta bring them back because Julie didn't like them. So I think we're going to see those guys again. I don't remember their names, but I do remember they were Hermes snakes. And then chapter 10, I buy some new friends. I really don't have anything specific for that other than Percy bribing people. It's kind of vague. I'm excited. This is a good one.
It is. Much more excellent things to come.
I want more fight scenes. I live for them.
You'll get them.
Yeah,
There's a war going on.
War is coming.
Don't you worry.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I am happy to be here and for once be in the expert chair. So thanks for having me. This was a fun time.
Do you want to tell the people where they can find you, find your podcast?
Sure. So if you want to hear me talking about Percy Jackson, I have a podcast called The Newest Olympian, where I never read the Percy Jackson books as a kid, so it's me going through them as an adult. I made my way through and read all of the first 5 books, did stuff about the bad movies, did episodes about the good TV show, did some behind-the-scenes interviews with some folks in production as well, and then now, after doing the musical, I have begun the journey through the Heroes of Olympus books. So I'm currently on the 2nd book, and it's been really fun. It's really good stuff. So you can listen to that podcast wherever you get podcasts by searching for The Newest Olympian. And then I'm on social media. Just search for The Newest Olympian. A lot of the handles are just at Newest Olympian. And then if you want to find me personally, because I do some other stuff as well, I'm Mike Schubert. And you can learn about me on my website, which is Schubs, schub.es. And then it's got all the stuff there. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Excellent. Next time we'll have chapters 9 and 10. And hopefully some more fight scenes for Julie.
Yes. I need the action.
All right. See y'all later.
See ya.
Hey, if you want, you can find us on social media at DemigodDebutPod. You can also find the links to our socials in the episode description. And if you enjoy consuming this podcast, consider leaving us a rating or review wherever it is you're listening. See you next time for chapters 9 and 10. Bye!